A very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, Dr. NGT Institute of Technology, I welcome you all for the sixth day webinar series on recent trends in civil engineering. I welcome Mr. R. Prince Arpudaraj, Head of Project Management at Energy Living Space, Madurai, for being the speaker and readily accepting our invitation. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce the today's speaker, Mr. Prince Arpudaraj. He has over 21 years of experience in various fields, including contract management, procurement, quantity surveying, and surveying. He has worked with reputed organizations in India for over 5 years and with major developers in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for around 16 years. He is well acquainted with various international conditions of contract and has managed teams of various sizes and successfully delivered projects. He is an extremely knowledgeable person. I take immense pleasure in welcome you today for this session, sir. Kindly take over the session, sir.
Many thanks, Shobna. Thanks for actually having me. It's a pleasure to meet you all here in this short webinar. Uh, uh, this is, let me start with, okay. Are you able to see my screen? Is my
No, sir.
screen, no, one second. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So let's start with this small webinar of project management. I would like to thank the organization for giving me an opportunity to present this. And I want to have this a little bit interactive session. So I hope I don't talk only and people keep listening. And I don't want it to be a one way. So if there's anything you want me to stop, you just speak out. Uh, and have anyone done any project management courses before this, or is this the first time you're all attending any project management course? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay,
Audible, sir.
okay. No, at least if I get a reply, then I know that I'm not speaking
Participants,
alone.
you can interact with sir.
No, sir, this is the first time.
Okay. Okay, so just to say, in case if anybody has completed any PMP courses or project management degrees, then this would be an like a refresher course. You would be knowing majority of what I'm going to talk. But if you haven't attended any seminars or any courses before this, then this will be a brief introduction to project management. Actually, this is a very vast topic. Universities take time to explain these things, so I just uh, made it on a high level one to just know what is project management and what it contains. So this would be about this seminar. Project management, actually, see, now we have a lot of projects, lot of structures still present today, which has been constructed a very, very long time ago. Many centuries ago, some projects are done and still those are still standing. It means the result of those projects are all successful. Project management, ideally, this concept of project management has actually started evolving around 1950s, where people, named the processes, named the terminologies, and then they started giving. They did more study on project management from the 1950s. Before that, the projects have been completed. Many of them are successful. We can see them now, but those were not actually identified what is the phases involved in each phase of construction, and they were not, some were not recorded, and we don't have those documents. But definitely there would have been some kind of project management even in those kind of projects also. Since 1950, this topic became famous, and in the last 2 decades, this has even reached very high standards, and all major countries, all major developing nations are starting to have the project management as a very important factor in all their projects. Pardon me. Sorry for the disturbance. So we are going to discuss on a high level what project management is and how it is useful to do in any kind of project. Also note that project management is not only for civil engineering projects. It's for any type of project, namesake for IT project, for HR project. Any projects will have all these basic elements of a project management, and project management is done not only for civil, for the entire range of projects. Okay, so let's start this one. I would like to just start with a small question. Can anyone say the difference between a project and a program? It would be good if it is interactive, so it will be more interesting to learn. Even webinars, actually, this is the current situation because of the pandemic. Or else these kind of seminars is better to be live, but unfortunately, we are all in pandemic. We have to do this kind of sessions, but let's try to make this a bit more interactive. So that's why I just want to have this question. Anybody would like to give a try?
Hello.
Yes.
Program will generally have a fixed duration, and project can vary. Duration can vary.
Okay. Any other answers? Okay. Not exactly. Actually, as per the Project Management Institute and the Project Management course, a program is a collection of projects. That is, say, for example, it goes like this. If you see the next slide, a program will have multiple projects grouped together, which forms a program. A project is an individual in nature. Project will have different tasks inside within this is called a project. It's not, if you go by the definition of a project is usually a temporary endeavor with a definite beginning and end, and also has a unique product, service, or result. This is actually a project. It can be a construction project, it can be a say IT project, it can be a project to develop some softwares, it can be a project to even without any result, there can be a project to just to improve a customer experience, a project to develop some robot, some kind of all of this fall under a project. But always a project is a temporary endeavor. It has a beginning and an end, and it will have an output. It will have a product. It will have a service or a result. This is a project. All these projects sometimes are grouped together, which forms a program. And the next step is generally a group of programs is called a portfolio. This is how project management actually defines program and project. In civil engineering point of view, we can just say for example, say making smart cities. So a smart city of a city. Now I am in Madurai, so smart city of Madurai is a program under which there are different projects. So building a bridge at Meenakshi Amman Temple, building a bridge in another place. That's all individual projects. All these projects are collectively known as the program, which is the smart city program. And for example, such kind of programs in each district can be combined together for as a portfolio in Tamil Nadu. That is usually a difference between a project and a program. So going a step ahead to define or to have what a project will contain. A project is, as I said, is a temporary one, which will yield some result and deliverable, which might be permanent. See, the result of a project can be permanent, and it might last very long. But the project itself usually has a fixed duration and it is temporary. And also the projects has results which are unique in nature. See, each project will have a separate output, separate product, separate service, which will be different on its own. It will be a different project. One will be it will be unique. All projects are assumed to be unique, even if it is a typical buildings you build, but definitely it will not be in one plot. So the differentiation will anyway happen. So we always say in project, the results will be unique. And when will the project be closed? So each project has an objective to achieve. So when the objective is met, then the project is meant to be closed. Sometimes even without the project objective being achieved, it needs to be closed. Say for example, the project stopped in between and it will never reopen. So in that case, the project is considered to be closed. And there are cases where the projects are terminated due to various reasons. Termination due to non-availability of resources, termination due to funding, or cancellation of the project itself. The objective of the project or the necessity of the project itself sometimes gets left. So in all these cases, the project gets closed or project gets terminated. Okay. So going on to the next, so what is project management? Project management is managing the project, to as simple as that. But to define, you can say project management is application of the knowledge, the skills, and the technologies to the project activities to achieve the desired project objectives. This is how project management is defined in the various studies of project management. Basically, we all do all these works in a day-to-day basis. The thing is, we don't know why this is being done and how does it form a part of the project management. So might be in the going slides, you will realize that these are the things we do on a day-to-day basis. The thing is, we don't realize that this is also part of project management. So you will be able to visualize it once this webinar is over. Okay, in some places we also have the project manager's office. So project manager's office, basically they provide the policies and procedures to do a particular projects. They provide the supports and guidances, and they also provide the resources, the project manager and his team, in order to execute any kind of project. So next we'll go on to what is the project management processes. Dear all, if there is anything you want me to say it more elaborately, or you have any doubts, you can just say. You can even note it down and we can discuss it at the end, or in case if you have anything that you want to speak, and you are free to talk anytime. Okay, we'll go with the project management processes. All projects have basically 5 steps in any kind of project. So project will have initiation phase, then planning phase, then execution phase, monitoring and control. This is being done in parallel to the execution phase, and each project, as I said, will have a definite closure or a handover. So this is the closure phase. As it is clearly visible, initiate means it is the starting phase. You all can visualize that. Plan is the stage where the project is actually planned. Execution is the portion where the project is executed. And monitor and control, this happens in parallel with execution to have a checkpoint, and the next will be the closeout or handover stage. This is the 5 stages of project management, and this will be applicable in all, even though it is a small or big or any type of project. These are the phases. It will be there in all type of projects. So let us go through in detail in what will occur in each of the following processes. We'll go to the process task for initiation. Usually a project initiates due to various reasons. The initiation phase itself even undercovers a lot of the things what we have learned from the past. Everything is learned in the initial phase. So initial phase, we actually have all these objectives as listed in the screen now. The first will be they will most likely select a project manager to lead any project, which is very important to be determined in the very early stage. The earlier the project manager in, the success rate of the project is very high, because he will understand right from the beginning, rather than coming in between a project where he has to take over from the others. So the selection of a project manager is very essential, and it should be done right in the initiation stage. So once a project manager is on board, the next step will be to study. See, all companies, all big developers or big companies, they already have existing systems. They will have the existing processes. They will have their standard operating procedures within the group. So whenever a project manager or a new project is initiated, the existing systems should be first studied. So what can those systems or can those processes, how can those processes be taken into the current project? This evaluation is done during the initiation phase. If any of those systems needs to be revisited, anything can be improved, they will do it. But majority, it goes with the, if it is an established organization, usually the companies proceed with the same processes what they have. Depending on the size of the project, if it is appropriate to divide it into phases, this division happens during the initial stage. The case or the business case of the project requires a deep understanding. This will also take place in the initiation phase. I hope all are aware of a business case. Can anyone say what is the business case? Yes or no? Even if there is no, just say no so I can proceed with this thing. Okay. Since there is no reply, I think I'll explain a business case also. Business case is usually the case for which the project is being done. Any big organization or any big country or a government, before doing any project, they want to do a business case to see the viability or the feasibility of the project, whether this project will earn revenue, whether this project will serve some purpose, whether this will improve any integrity of the country or the. So this, all these are put together in a case called, in a report, which normally the project managers call it as a business case. So business case is required for any kind of when you see a project to be successful, definitely they do the success. Say for example, you want to build a house. So first thing you would say is, okay, if I build this house, what will be the return I'm going to get? So if you feel that I'm investing 51 crore and I don't get the rate of return in some particular years as you anticipate, then you won't be proceeding with the project. This is the same, it's applicable to even to all the organizations. All the organizations does some processes, some projects in order to improve their revenue or in order to improve their process. So this all is documented in a business case. So during initiation phase, the business case needs to be understand very well, so that during execution, they all know why this project is being built. Without knowing why this project is being done, it might not serve the purpose in that to be built for. So the essence of the project goes off. So a business case understanding is very essential, and it is all done in the initiation phase. Then they also create objectives for what is to be done for the project, how are they going to achieve the target dates, and so on. Then they develop also a project charter. Project charter is something which is done, which will have what is the type of project, how many, for example, if it is a civil project, what is the apartment types, what type of apartments, what are we going to build, what is the timeline to build, what is the budget allocated, what is the resource, what is the major risks. But this will be only a very high level project chart. Project charter is not a program planning, which we will study in this next slides. It will be a very brief outline, which is done in the very early stages of the project. And the next will be to identify the stakeholders. So each project will have lot of stakeholders. There will be an employer, there will be a client, there will be an end user, there will be a contractor. There are various stakeholders which will form in the project. So each stakeholders have to be identified in the earlier phases, and what is the management strategy of all the stakeholders. Who will do what is the role of this stakeholder, up to what he can approve. So all those kind of management strategies are usually drafted in the initiation phase of the project. Moving on to the next step is the planning. Planning of a project is very important and very crucial. The success rate of the project mainly depends on how we plan project. Planning is something which even many companies spend a lot of time before the actual project takes place. So planning contains all this steps. Not only this, it has another slide also for planning. To do a proper planning, there needs to be a plan. We need to sit and work on how to plan for the project. Okay, what are the requirements, and how are we going to deliver the project? What is the requirements actually for the project? During the initiation phase, okay, we just have an outline what needs to be delivered, but during the planning stage, these requirements and the scope are actually made clear, to the all the stakeholders. Conclude the requirement exactly. Okay, we are going to build this tower with this finish, with this area, with this budget. It will be it all needs to be done in a precise way. Planning stage, we are doing these kind of all iterations. So conclude the requirements, then they create the scope statement. What are we going to do? What are we going to deliver? All this it is collected in a document. Then what are the items you are going to purchase? So what are the purchase requirements required in order to deliver the project? So purchase requirements or determine the teams. What will be the teams required for this project? It might be the project management team, and initially who will lead the project, who will take forward this project. Then they will create the work breakdown structure, WBS, activity list, network diagram. All this are linked to how you're going to execute a certain type of project. Estimate the resources required, how much manpower is required for completing the project, how much resources. Not only is manpower, it also it's about the office, it's about or any other resources that is required for the project. The next important thing also is the time and cost implications. They estimate the time and cost for all projects, including all critical parts, what schedule is required, what kind of budget is required. The time and cost all are estimated during the planning phase. During the planning phase, along with this, they also need to ensure whether the proper quality is maintained, proper quality, the desired quality is being achieved. So they also establish the quality standards. What are the quality processes needs to be done, and how do we measure this quality? So the quality metrics, these also are all established during the planning phase. They also make a process improvement plan in case if the existing processes which they have been handing it from the initial phase, whether that process can be improved or not. This also is being done during the planning phase. Also, an important factor is the segregation of duties, that is the roles and responsibilities. They call it SOD sometimes, or organization hierarchies. They call it in different ways, but generally they call it SOD, or the roles and responsibilities. So this needs to be determined very early stage. So these many projects even get failed due to the misunderstanding of the segregation of duties. They assume the other person will be doing it, the other person will assume that he is going to approve it. So the thing is, the project gets delayed, the cost, budget overrun, and all those things happen. Since if there's no proper SOD done and drafted in the planning stage itself. Plan communications. This is also very important, like who will communicate what, who is authorized to give what, how is being communicated, how is being cascaded to the down members, how is it reported to the management. So planning communication is also an essential factor that has to be planned during the initial phases of the project. Also, the risk identification. So what are the project risks that we foresee while execution? What are the risks we already inherit? What are the risks we might face during the course of it? So perform risk identification, qualitative and quantitative risk analysis has to be done during the initial phases. So once all this is done, actually planning doesn't stop only with one. Might be when after this is done, when it goes through a process of iterations, it will again be reviewed again and again, so that to assume achieve a project plan which is solid. There might be multiple revisions. Then from this stage, they will again go back to from the beginning. In case if they're not satisfied, they will be doing it again. So iterations can happen during the planning phases. So once it is iterations are done, if the project plan is fully foolproof, then they proceed with the next step of developing the final project management plan, and they obtain the approval of the stakeholders. So once the project management plan is fully done and obtain the approval, then the projects can go to the kickoff meeting stage to execute. Okay. Any doubts in planning and initiation phases till now? At least you can say no, so we can proceed.
Participants, if you have any queries, you
Queries,
can.
yeah. Silent room
Chat box
seems very boring. Only me talking and you all being quiet. It will be a quick session. Actually, I will be wrapping it up in another 20 minutes or so. So we can do it quickly and finish off. But a more interactiveness would be a good session. Okay.
Participants, you can either unmute and you can ask your queries, or you can post it in the chat box also.
Okay, we'll move on to the next task in the process, that is the execution. We have crossed the major planning process. The next process will be the execution phase. So execution is nothing but execute as per the plan. So we have a project plan ready. So it's in the ground. So you go there, start doing as per the plan what is being given to you. During the execution phase, actually the product scope is also produced. That is, if you have to, the initial project management plan is ready, but when you do the plan, what is the outcome, what is the product? So that product, it is more detailed, specified in the execution stage. And in any kind of project, in any type, might be construction, might be non-construction, changes are inevitable. Changes will occur due to various reasons. There are external factors, internal factors. A project, there are very less projects that have been executed as per the initial plan. Definitely, there will be changes due to whatever nature during the execution of projects. So when changes come, how is it managed? How does the process or the project management team handle these changes? So whenever there is a change, they request the changes in during the execution phase, during the project construction phase. Whenever they do the changes, these changes cannot be directly proceeded with the work. It has to have certain approval. So all the changes will be implemented in the project only if it is being approved by the stakeholders as per the responsibility matrix. It has to be approved either by depending on different criteria in the project. The changes should be approved, and whatever is approved changes, it should be implemented in the project. Ensure common understanding and use work authorization system. The project manager's main role is to understand that whatever the project plan is to be understood by each and every party who is executing the project. They have to be aligned in the same line so that the project can go smoothly. And also the processes what the project being executed need not be the same old fashioned way. There can be definitely continuously improvement. If there's a process which feels that, okay, instead of building this and then this, why not the other way around? Why not we? So improvement and the process improvement is always there. There's always an opportunity to create any new processes which will improve the success rate of the project. It should be there. At the same time, whatever the improvement are doing, it should go as per the process. The process is there, so whatever improvement, do it after proper documentation, so that you don't deviate from the processes what we have, as well as the process gets updated. So the process following procedure should always be there. during the execution, perform quality assurance and quality audits so that the desired objective is always met and always it is assured. The next, it's also project execution stage also has the to be managing the people. Managing the people doesn't mean only looking at them, but how are they performing? The team should be, they should have a regular objective, regular appraisals, and the team's performance should be monitored and appreciated wherever it is required. So this is also a part of execution phase. Some companies even have team building activities during construction of during any busy project. They take a day out, take the team outside to have better coordination, better rapport among themselves. So at any point of time they can always be coordinated well. Giving recognition and awards. This is also an important thing. Whenever some work is being done, it has to be recognized and it needs to be rewarded. Also, all these things also happen during the execution phase. During the execution phase, they also use the issue logs. Issue logs is nothing like, it's also something similar to the NCR logs, what you can say here. It is whenever there are any issues, these issues are reported and some actions are being taken. I'm sorry. Or taken using these logs, which is there maintained in the project. Facilitate conflict resolution, send and receive information, hold meetings. So all these activities are usually done during the execution phase. Whenever there is any lack of communication or things, these are all fixed during the execution phase. Sorry. Any questions in this one?
Sir, there is a query from one of the participants.
Yeah.
That is stakeholder management closer to expectation management or closer to risk management?
See, stakeholder management is not, it is related to all. Stakeholder management is, there are various stakeholders. Say project manager is a stakeholder, the company is a stakeholder, the owner is also a stakeholder. The management of stakeholders is not a risk, or it is the company's policy. Yeah, I think there's a misinterpretation in the understanding of what a stakeholder management is. A stakeholder management means stakeholder, how they control the project. This is what is defined in the stakeholder management policy. So the risk, what is the other one you said, a risk or what? Other one? I can't see the chat box. Sorry.
No problem, sir. I'll tell you. Closer to expectation management or closer to risk management?
As I said, it is. Sorry, slide one. The stakeholder management, as I said, is not related to expectation. See, there are different stakeholders, so it depends on what stakeholder we are discussing about. So risk management is actually only for the risks associated with the project. And expectation management, actually, there is no separate topic for expectation management. It is the results or the, it is also a part of stakeholder only. Expectation is also from the stakeholder. So stakeholders, the one part of the stakeholder is the customer. So the customer will have his expectations. So it comes under the customer relationship and customer experience, which is the last part of the project management. So it will not be definitely a risk management. It can be associated with, say, expectation will be with the customer or a stakeholder alone. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now we move on to the next one. This is the monitoring and controlling. Okay, so during the execution of the project needs to be monitored and controlled. Monitoring a project is also as essential as any other task planning or execution. Monitoring, usually these monitoring and controlling, there is always a separate team who monitors and controls the project at any phase of the project. Okay, so these are the monitoring controlling tasks, is the tasks which take action to control the projects so that to ensure the project is going as per the guideline, as per the set baseline, as per the set budget, or as per the desired objective. So monitoring and control will have these actions also. They will measure the performance against the baseline program, measure the performance against the metrics, which is determined metrics in the sense what has to be finished in what time, in what budget. So these metrics are defined during the project management plan, and these are also measured during the monitoring and control phase. Determine the variances, and if they want a change request, if there is any variances, the changes to the project, does it require any change request? So all these controls is being done during the monitoring and controlling phase. Also during the phase, even they check whether any factors that induce the changes, or also that these identification of the factors also is done during the monitoring and control phase. The request change will also come here, and execution, because both these things warrant any kind of changes, it will automatically be there in both the phases. Perform integrated change control. If there's integrated change control, is whatever the changes required, the necessary approvals is being taken, that proper integration is done within all the stakeholders is also monitored and controlled during the monitoring and control phase. Okay, not necessarily all changes to be approved. Changes can be approved or rejected based on the validity of the change, or the validity of the claim of the change. Inform the stakeholders of the changes. Wherever there are changes, the stakeholders are being updated. Create necessary, obtain necessary approvals. Create the forecast, what is going to happen now, if there is any new changes forecasted. All the forecast is also being done by the monitoring and controlling team. They also gain acceptance from the end user in case of, some projects will have interim deliverables also. Need not be only the final deliverable, there will be deliverables in between, which also is being need to obtain all these end user approvals also during the course of the project. Report the project performance. How is the project performing? Is it performing in time, in cost, in risk-free? How are these happening? All this also is controlled during the monitoring and controlling phase. Also, risk audits also is being done under this department and under this phase, or in this task. Manage reserves. There might be always in any projects, they will always have a backup plan, plan B, which is also managed by the monitoring and controlling. If something goes wrong, plan A is not working, there can always be a plan B, which is also managed and kept it as a reserve. Administer procurements. During the projects, there will be a lot of procurements happening, so these needs to be also administered properly, whether it is being progressing in order to achieve the objective or not. So this is also controlled during the monitoring and controlling phase. These two phases, execution and monitoring and controlling, go in parallel during the execution, and monitoring and controlling even starts even before execution. Even during the planning phase, some of the monitoring and controlling is being done. So when execution, monitoring, controlling are done, then we go to the final task of closing of a project. As I said in the beginning, all projects have a definite start and end. Closing of a project is also very essential and forms a very big role in any of the project to complete. Okay, so during closing, what are all the main things to be noticed is that confirm that work has met the desired objective. What this project was built for, it needs to be confirmed whether that has been achieved or not. And during the course of the project, there would have been a lot of other procurements done, which needs also to be closed out, because that as a single procurement might be a project for that particular company. So all procurement should be closed out properly. Gain formal acceptance of the product from the stakeholder. Whoever is the stakeholder for accepting the project, he has to be informed of what has been done, and the product needs to be approved formally during this phase of the project. Okay, complete a final performance reporting. This is what I just told. The performance, it needs to be reported properly and obtain proper approval. And another major task during a closing, and many companies do and many companies don't do for whatsoever reason. So the doing company actually succeeds. They actually, all the documents collected so far, all the drawings, all the assets, whatever they collect, are properly indexed and they are all archived. So any big project or a big company who's succeeding very well with reference to an old project is because they have a good historical data. They index any project and archive them properly so that it can be used for a future project. Many companies even do lessons learned. Okay, we made a mistake in this project. Okay, update that. When during the closing out stage, we know that we have done these things and these things could have been done better for the completion of the project. But mistakes happen, and these lessons learned ought to be recorded and also to be part of the assets so that it can be used in the future for any other projects. So lessons learned should be updated, hand over the completed project to the end user or the client or the appropriate stakeholder, and then demobilize the resources. So the resources, whoever is available, can be demobilized from the project once this is done. Some project, it depends. The demobilized resources means it need not be the entire resource. Partial resource demobilization can happen during the course of the project also when their part is completed. But definitely the project manager and the handing over team will be demobilizing it once the project is closed. So any other doubts we have till now?
Sir, there is one more query.
Yeah.
How to determine the relationship between project risk and delay percentage in construction project?
See, construction delay percentage and project risk, this is two different topics. Okay, project delay is somewhat related to the time management. Okay, actually there's one more, the next steps, I will go through this different tasks we can explain, but now I'll just share a brief. Risks is not only related to the delay. Risk is related to, it can be any type of risk. Risk management is a huge topic, and that needs a separate webinar for doing risk management. So what type of risk is what we are foreseeing. Okay, there can be a risk of, say, an accident, risk of safety, risk of non-completion. But delay due to time alone, it can be mitigated. What you're asking is if delay happens due to various reasons. This delay cannot be considered as a risk. Delay is a risk for completion, but it can always be mitigated. So I hope I'm clarifying you, or still you're not clarifying. Whoever is typing can also ask, so it will be even more, when you ask, it will be more clear also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm in my screen, I'm seeing only what I'm presenting. I'm not able to see what are the comments. So, ma'am, you can just give me whenever there's
no problem, sir. I'll help you. No issues.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just go into the next phase of which we call the parts of the project. So far, we have seen the tasks associated with the projects. Okay, all these tasks fall under a different particular type of management, which is shown here. Or, for example, the project management is broadly classified into all these in these type of managements: integration management, scope management, time management, cost management, quality management, resource management, risk management, procurement management. These are the parts of a project management, and what phases or what are the processes we saw earlier falls under any of these managements. So each of this separate topic is a topic in nature. Okay, so due to time constraint, I will just be giving only two lines of each of this managements, and we'll be wrapping it up. Because if we need to go in detail into any one session itself will be a separate webinar. That one can be seen later. But I just want to give an outline, what is what, and whatever we have discussed so far is also a part of the all these managements what we see. Okay, it's just 2 slides, and with this we will wrap it off. This is the project management parts. Okay, so integration management is in a short form, it is the major role of the project manager. The project manager's objective is to keep the entire team in a cohesive manner to deliver the project. So the major role of the project manager is to integrate each and every stakeholder in the project. So integration management is nothing but integrating all the units in one. So there are different type of integrations and different type of integration management, but this is in a nutshell what an integration management would have. So the project manager should be definitely a good integrator. If he is a good integrator, then the project will succeed for sure. So project involves many people, and all of them have to be aligned in all phases. So integration management even teaches about the project charters, which I explained earlier, the business case, the project management plan, change integration, monitoring and controlling work. So all these are all part of the integration management study. So in case if you're going to do a thesis on integration management, then you would have to be thorough in all these topics and even more topics, or these are like high level topics. And this is what is integration management is about. So if you go to scope management is also very essential for a project, because this defines what you have to do. See, defining scope is very important factor in any project. So you're going to say you're going to construct a building, you're going to deliver an apartment. So you define it clearly. You say, okay, I am constructing an apartment with this area, with this finish, with this tile, with this fitting and fixture, with or without this. So the defining the scope is very important for any project. It should be clearly specified, clearly clarified right from the beginning. And scope management also says it ensures the scope, and only that scope is done. Don't do extra. See, a project is being done, you have to do this, say 100, don't do 101. 101 is not scope. So you are supposed to do 100, you do 100. You need to do X, you do X. The scope should be defined and ensure the scope, and that scope is particularly done. Okay, this is the scope management, and in scope management is usually verify the scope and control the scope with the proper work breakdown structure. So to achieve that scope, on what are the work breakdown structure you need to follow. So this is all studied under usually the scope management. Time management. Time management is nothing but creating the schedules. Time is of essence in any project. So any project, since it has a timeline, time management is also a very important factor in all the projects. So creating schedules, estimating the durations of activities. In case if you're doing a detailed analysis, identify the critical paths, source, slacks, milestone program, and all the program management or all the duration management is what is all mainly controlled in the time management part. Cost management, as it is clear, it controls the costs of the project. So cost means budgets are made, estimates are made, how the project is controlled. It should also be linked to time, definitely. How is the project proceeding during the course of the project? Is it under budget or over budget? The changes, what are the influence of the change on the cost? All these are all managed with the cost management. The various terms they will use, the life cycle costing, value engineering or value analysis, the cost risks, life cycle costing, whether to build this project initially with a lower cost and to give a stakeholder a longer cost, or to build with a higher cost now and give the stakeholder maintenance cost. So all these things, all the cost management part is all studied in the cost management. Coming to the last slide, this will be the other 4 management. This is the quality management. Okay, the quality is usually defined in a project. Quality is the degree to which the project fulfills the requirement. Quality usually is not what we call the normal quality of the building. No, quality of the building should be there, but quality is generally defined as the what is the product you have to give. It is similar to the somewhat the scope. If you have to do this scope, you have to do this scope. So you achieve that scope, that means you are maintaining the quality. You need not do decorative work or a decorative thing to improve quality. You know, the quality and the scope are actually almost linked together in project management terms. So the quality of work should always be also continuously improved. No need of any gold plating. That gold plating is a term they say, if you're supposed to do something, do only that. Don't do additional works, or don't, if you're asked to do silver, do silver. Don't need to make another coat or something. You have to maintain the same one with the quality what is required for, with as per the standards you have to do as per that standard. If concrete mix required M20, do M20. It need not be M25. In M25, even though it is better, you need not do it. So all these are all controlled in the quality management. Next is the resource management. Resource management is nothing but the resources required for the project. Mainly, this involves the human resource, HR. So all projects involves resources. So the resource planning, the roles and responsibilities are all managed in the resource management topic. Resource management actually should also have acquire the right resources, because a resource is very important for the successfulness of the project. So they have to acquire the right resource, and if any resources are there in the project, it should be also motivated to develop the resource by training, and also to recognize the resources and award the resources if they succeed, and to manage all the resources. So all these form part of the resource management. Risk management. Risk management, as I said, is a very big topic to discuss. Identifying risks, mitigating the risks, and early identifying, even doing a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. It will help to control the risk. The risks are also priced. So a risk, whatever risks we foresee, should be priced. Usually they say this risk should be avoided, but unavoidable risks, if risks occur, it can be mitigated. It should be mitigated, and some risks are also transferred. On this one, can anyone say how we can transfer a risk? Risks actually can be transferred through insurances. So if there is a risk of fire or any damage, you have an insurance. That means then you are covered. You have transferred the risk to the insurance company. And in abroad and company, they also do, the employers transfer the risk by the way of guarantees. They give like a performance guarantees and or various retention bonds. Risks are also transferred using those kind of other third-party bonds, insurances, and so. Okay, the next will be procurement management. Procurement management also is a very big topic. It is the planning, conduct, administering, and closing all procurements. The basic principle of procurement is the value for money and time, and it should be in time. We have various types of procurements, various types of contracts management, negotiations, and I'm an actually expert. So procurement management, I can't just stop with one line. So it'll extend if I start talking on this one. So, but that can be discussed in a separate webinar. Okay, this is what I wanted to share with you today for the project management, and we can move ahead and wrap up if there's any more questions, so people can ask, and then we can wind it off.
Thank you, sir. There is a query that how can a service company do best cost management or target costing?
See, service companies can do target costing. See, these are all very particular field. See, I'm a civil engineer, so I am into construction industry. Although I'll try to answer the query, but it might not be the exact answer. So now can I have the query once more? Service.
How can a service company do best cost management or target costing?
Cost management means it is to foresee what they are going to deliver. Service company, I couldn't get what service company you're talking about. Say service companies mean that can be facility management companies who maintain a building, for example. So this is also a service company. They can do cost management in a way whether they can improve their processes. Say, for example, instead of 3 people doing some similar job, can it be automated? Can some cost management studies be done in their different on their own agenda? How can what can be clubbed together? Might be they have a service to deliver to few 3 people at one place. Can it all be clubbed together? So might be a combined procurement can achieve them cost saving. That can be managed well. Or might be they need to see whether to do it themselves or to outsource. So these kind of activities they can do to check whether they can manage their costs well. This is what I infer, but might be I might not be. It might not be 100% correct answer because I'm not from the service industry, to be honest.
So next question is, what is SWOT analysis? SWOT.
Okay, SWOT is actually strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So any big organization, before they start any project or any new venture, they usually do a SWOT analysis. So even when I was in Abu Dhabi, so even we do it even for a departmental level. So I was handling a procurement department. So procurement department, I will do a SWOT analysis of my department when I'm going to presenting my budget. So SWOT strength means what are the strengths I have. So a company or an organization should always be in a correct position to identify what are the core strengths they have. They also should identify what are all the weaknesses they have, so that the weaknesses should be made always into the strength. This is how they always see. Yes, W and OT will be on one side. The weaknesses, they should, the next year it should go to the strength. And opportunities and threats. See, opportunities is opportunity and threat are from the outside. Yes, W is from inside. That is, strength is our strength, weakness is our weakness. Opportunity and threat are from the external parties. That is, what are the opportunities available in the market? What are the threats available in the market? So threats available in the market should be, we should try to make that threat into an opportunity, and the weaknesses we should try to make it into a strength. The opportunities might be a business opportunity available there. If we can manage, we can absorb that opportunity to our company. Threats are all actually not controlled by, say, for example, this pandemic is a threat. Okay, so this is not controlled by any one of us. Business is going to, business market is down, Sensex is down. All these are all the threats outside of our control. Opportunities is okay, potential building is developing there, so definitely there will be a need for an infrastructure, for example. So as a if you are an organized, if you hold a company, a developing company, you should look out for the opportunities at the same time the threats. So this SWOT analysis is done in a company always to monitor how they are performing and where their weaknesses are and how we can improve, and what are the threats and how can we mitigate the threats. This is what is SWOT analysis.
Okay, sir. Next question, what is the role of softwares like MS Projects or Primavera?
The softwares are the things which are made to help us. Okay, softwares mean, because you feed something, that is what the software is going to give you. There are different type of softwares evolving now, and basically what I feel is any software, anyone can work with any software, provided the basic inputs what you're going to give should be proper, and you should know what you need to get out of the software. If you don't know, if you think that Primavera will do me the entire program, and if we don't know the program, Primavera will not help you. So softwares are there to support the humans, but the input and the desired output should be controlled by us. So definitely a project manager, he should be knowing the software something, but basically I feel the inputs and the output desired should be always controlled by the resources themselves.
There is one more query from one of the participants. It is a general query, sir. That is,
Yes.
what is learned or taught in a 2-year construction management master's course?
See, what we studied now is a project management. Construction management is also similar to this, but what we studied, what I told you now, it will be studied in very depth detail in construction management. So all the topics what we covered is almost there, but you will go into the details. Like, for example, like I said, cost management, you will go into different types of, you will study what is earned value, what is the rate of returns, so each topic will be discussed in detail. So now here you just know the index of what is being taught under project management or construction management. So if you enroll in construction management, you will study this, and might be the construction techniques also. They would some companies, some universities teach that also, the latest techniques in construction, and various methods to improve construction. Might be those things will be there in construction. I have not done construction management, so this is what I suppose it would be there in construction management course. But in a project management course, which is accredited by the Project Management Institute, you will mostly study what I have taught you in detail. For at least they will take 1 year. In each of these sections will be covered. So in case you join, you can definitely refer these slides, and all these topics would be there in the project management course.
So next question is, please explain the significance of PMP certification.
See, PMP certification is project management professional. This is also given by the PMI. As I said, nowadays the project management, the value of project management is being recognized across the world. So I would always recommend to have this certificate. Is an added advantage in the competitive market. Definitely, see, I've just landed back a month ago to Madurai from Abu Dhabi. So in Gulf, PMP has a value, and any project managing companies, or now we have separate project management consulting companies, and they look for this PMP certified professional. So I would recommend people to do it, but it is also equivalent to an MBA in project management. If somebody has done it already, then most likely this would be the same, you would be doing it. But it's always a part of continuous lifelong learning is always what I recommend, and definitely this is also a very important task or certificate which will help you in your future, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for readily accepting our invitation, and you have given us a vast knowledge in project management.
Thank you actually for having me. Even these kind of webinars even promote me also to learn more. Lifelong learning is a very important aspect, like all should aspire. There's no age to study, so keep learning, and I'm happy that you have invited me, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Participants, kindly fill the attendance form, attendance link which is given in the chat box. After verifying this 1 week attendance, if you have more than 60% of attendance, you will receive a certificate to your registered mail. Thank you all. Thank you all for your active participation. Thank you so much.